We're driving a booster down the road to the launch site. You can see the mega bays. And as I said, what's cool, the cool thing for those out there watching this video is that you can actually just literally come here, drive down the road and see it, which is the first time in history that that's been possible. So all this cool stuff, that road on the left there, that highway is public, and you can just come here and see it, which I recommend doing. I think it's very inspiring to see. So that's our Gigabay. So we're expanding integration to produce 1,000 Starships per year. Well, yeah, that hasn't been built yet, but we're building it. That is a truly enormous structure. That'll be one of the biggest structures, I think by some measures, the biggest structure in the world. And it's designed for 1,000 Starships a year. We're also building a Gigabay in Florida, so we'll have 2 facilities, one in Texas and one in Florida. It's actually difficult to gauge the size of these buildings because you need a kind of human for scale. When you see how tiny a human is next to that building, you realize just how enormous it is. So when we look at our build comparison, vehicles per year, so you look at Boeing and Airbus making airplanes, Starship will be making, at some point, probably as many Starships for Mars as Boeing and Airbus make commercial airplanes. So this is really at a scale, enormous scale. And each Starship will have a capability. Each Starship is bigger than a 747 or an A380. Like, it's truly enormous. And then in terms of Starlink satellites, the version 3 satellites, making on the order of 5,000 a year, maybe at some point closer to 10,000 a year. And those Starlink V3 satellites are each the size of roughly a 737. They're pretty big. That compares to the B-24 bomber in World War II. Now, it's still small compared to Tesla. And Tesla will probably be doing, double or triple that volume in the future. So it just puts things into perspective that it is actually possible to build a vast number of interplanetary starships. And even when you can compare things on the tonnage standpoint, Tesla is still, and other car companies are still building far more complex manufactured tonnage than SpaceX, which just really is a way of saying that it's very achievable. Like these numbers, while they are insanely high by traditional space standards, are achievable by humans because they have been achieved in other industries. Progress is measured by the timeline to establishing a self-sustaining civilization on Mars. That's how we're gauging our progress here at Starbase. So with each launch, especially in the early days of Starship, each launch is about learning more and more about what's needed to make life multiplanetary and to improve Starship to the point where it can be taking ultimately hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people to Mars. Ideally, we can take anyone who wants to go to Mars, we can take to Mars. And bring all of the equipment necessary to make Mars self-sustaining, so Mars can grow by itself in a worst-case scenario, getting to the point where the fundamental fork in the road for human destiny is where Mars can continue to grow even if the supply shifts from Earth stop coming for any reason. At that point, we've achieved civilizational resilience, where Mars can potentially come to the rescue of Earth if something goes wrong, or maybe Earth could come to the rescue of Mars. But having 2 planets that are both self-sustaining and strong I think is going to be incredibly important for the long-term survival of civilization. So, like, just I think any given civilization is likely to last maybe, I don't know, 10 times longer, maybe much longer, if it is a multi-planet civilization than if it is a single-planet civilization, because there's always some chance that, us humans could do something crazy like World War III, hopefully not, but it's possible, or that there could be some natural event like meteors or supervolcanoes or something that we don't expect, and then if we only have one planet, then that could be curtains. But if we've got two planets, we keep going, and then we go beyond Mars ultimately to maybe the asteroid belt, the moons of Jupiter, and beyond, and ultimately to other star systems. And we can be out there among the stars, making science fiction no longer fiction. So in order to achieve this goal, we have to make rapidly reusable rockets, so that the cost per flight, the cost per ton to Mars, is as low as possible. That's essential. So for that, rapidly reusable rockets, I said, it's actually 4 R's. It's like a pirate. RRR. It's like rapidly reusable, reliable rockets is the key. RRR. Now congrats to the SpaceX team on making incredible progress on catching a giant rocket. So it's really mind-blowing that the SpaceX team has been able to catch the largest flying object ever made multiple times, using a very novel method of catching it out of the air with giant chopsticks. I mean, have you ever seen that before? Yeah, congrats again. That was an incredible achievement. So the reason we are catching it in this way, which has never been done before, is in order to achieve the rapidly reusable portion of in order to make the rocket rapidly reusable. So if the super heavy booster, which is gigantic, it's like 30 feet in diameter, if it were to land with landing legs on a landing pad, we would then have to pick it up, stow the legs, and put it back in the launch pad. And it's quite difficult to transport such a large thing. But if we catch it with the same tower that it's used to put it in the launch mount to begin with, that is the best case outcome for rapid reuse. So it literally gets caught by the same arms that placed it in the launch ring, and then it is placed back in the launch ring immediately. So in principle, the Super Heavy booster can be reflown within an hour of landing. So it comes back in about 5 or 6 minutes, one way or another, and then it gets caught by the tower arms, placed back in the launch mount, and then you can refill propellant in about 30 to 40 minutes, and place a ship on top of it, and in principle, refly the entire booster every hour. Maybe every 2 hours to give it a little bit of extra time. But let's just say it's in the limit of rapid reuse. And then the next thing we need to do is catch the ship too. So we haven't done this yet, but we will. So that's what we hope to demonstrate later this year, maybe as soon as 2 or 3 months from now. And then the ship would be placed on top of the booster and then again refilled with propellant and flown again. With the ship, it takes a bit longer because it's got to orbit Earth a few times until the ground track comes back over the launch pad. But the ship is also intended to be reflown multiple times per day. This is the new Raptor 3, which is an awesome engine. Big hand to the Raptor team for this. This is very exciting. So Raptor 3 is designed to require no base heat shield, saving a lot of mass on the bottom and actually improving reliability so that if there is, for example, a small fuel leak from the Raptor engine, it will simply leak into the existing flaming plasma and not really matter. Whereas a fuel leak, when the engines are contained in a box, is a very scary thing indeed. So this is a Raptor 3. It'll take it probably a few kicks at the can, but it is a massive increase in payload capability, in engine efficiency, and in reliability. So this is really a revolutionary engine. Raptor 3 is really, I'd say, kind of alien technology rocket engine. I mean, even industry experts, when we showed a picture of the Raptor 3, said that engine is not complete. So then we said, well, here's the engine not complete, firing at a level of efficiency that has never been achieved before. So, I mean, that is one clean engine. So in order to make the engine like that, we had to simplify so many parts of the design, incorporate secondary fluid circuits and electronics in the structure of the engine itself. So everything is contained and protected. It is a marvel of engineering, frankly. Then one of the other technologies that's key for Mars is doing orbital propellant transfer. So you can think of this like similar to aerial refueling for airplanes, but in this case it's orbital refilling of rockets, which has never been done before. But it is, technically feasible. I always feel like these things are a little NSFW, sort of. Listen, you got to transfer fluid somehow. This has got to be done. So the two starships would get together, and one starship would transfer fuel and oxygen. And actually, most of the mass is oxygen. It's almost 80% oxygen that gets transferred, a little over 20% fuel. And so once you send a starship to orbit with that's full of payload, and then you send a bunch of other starships up, and you would refill the propellant on that starship. And once the propellant tanks are mostly full, then you can depart for Mars or the Moon, or yeah. So this is an important technology which we should hopefully demonstrate next year.